Hey there, Peter Denef here. Just want to make a little video to address the concept of improvisation. A bunch of students have been asking me lately about improvisation and how do you approach it? What are you thinking? Is it all about scales? Is it all about chords? Well, in this very brief video, I will start to kind of get into that idea. It is not about scales, although scales are a big part of it. You kind of need to know your scales to be able to create good melodies. Much in the same way you got to know your alphabet to be able to write a story. So what we want to do is we want to, in this little exercise, you want to take like a 2-5-1 progression, say in F. So G minor 7, C7 to F major 7. Okay? We want to find some guide tones. Again, this is very brief. This is in a nutshell how we do it. So this is how I do it anyway. I take some chord tones from each chord. So for the G minor 7, let's just keep it simple. Let's just take the 3. So it's the third. So B flat. The third of C7, so an E, and then the A, which is a third of the 1 chord of F major. So those will be our guide tones for our melody. And so I use this concept of departures and arrivals, like at the airport, right? So we're departing from the third of 2, arriving at the third of 5, departing from the third of 5 and arriving to the third, or the A, of F major 7. So each one of those will be our downbeat, which is the most strong harmonic beat there is. 1 and 3 are kind of our strong harmonic beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now let's find a fun way of getting from one note or one sort of one anchor to the next. So this is where we find our little roads and how to get there. So good melodies should have an interesting shape to them, and they should also land where you want them to land. So we have to take all things into consideration. What key we're in, the scales. Are we going to use any chromatic, maybe some half-step leading tones? Are we going to use, chromatic passing tones? Those add a little interest. So let's try it. There we go. That's one. So that's pretty cool. That's very Charlie Parker-esque, right? So let's try it again. Anyway, a little less chromatic. Same idea. Was a little more chromatic. Okay, I've come up with what 4 or 5 ways so far. Do that 100 times. See how many different ways you can get there until you exhaust all of the possibilities that you can think of, and then maybe try some different chord tones. When it comes to jazz, your strongest choices obviously are 1, 3, 5, 7. 1 being really grounded. You may not want to use 1 all the time, but it works. 3s are real good. 5s are fine. 7s are great. Here's a good example from Now's the Time, Parker tune, where he starts off on the 7. It's a 2-5-1 in B flat. Right? It's a really cool little line. So he starts on the 7, the 1, climbing chromatically into the 7. Pretty cool sound. So check out the guys that make those great melodies. Parker, Bud Powell, all these guys from back then that they just had, Oscar Peterson, they just had beautiful melodies, and check them out. See why those shapes of melodies are so pleasing to us. And you'll make discoveries about it. It'll become part of what you do. So it's basically all B flat major. It's the same major scale that Bach was using, or Mozart. So the thing that makes this sound like Parker is the way he arranged those notes and the way he dealt with his melodies. So when you approach improvisation, try to think melodically, because I really think that is for me, the best way of soloing is when you can solo hearing the melodies that you hear in your mind and get them out on the piano. And I'm here to help you do that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to come up with some other videos too that sort of deal with this, because I think that this is one of those things that's hard to grasp for a beginner in jazz music. Even if you've been playing piano for a long time, but you've been playing classical or pop music, whatever, to grasp jazz improvisation, it's very, very challenging. So I really think that I can help. So, and if you don't have a great teacher or you haven't thought about taking lessons, you should find a great teacher. Get someone that inspires you and that you trust, and someone who can guide you and really make it happen. So anyway, have a great weekend and enjoy.